Barbara Fleischmann hadn't had much reason to celebrate in the days before November 8, 2007. She had been diagnosed with breast cancer and was a week away from having surgery for the first time. Looking for a way to lift his mother's spirits, her son Kyle decided to treat her to a Dane Cook comedy show at a local arena. Kyle's sister, Noelle, and his best friend, Dan Scagnelli, went as well. The comedy show was over around 10 p.m., and Barbara and her daughter headed straight home, while Kyle and Dan decided to meet up with some friends and have a few drinks. It was a cold night in Charlotte, North Carolina, with the thermometer hovering just under the freezing mark. Barbara thanked Kyle for the fun evening out, then she and Noelle said a hasty goodbye as they climbed into the warmth of their car. Kyle called out that he would talk to his mother the following day, and then he followed Dan into the Buckhead Saloon. Located in uptown Charlotte, the bar attracted a relatively young clientele, and it was usually quite crowded. That Thursday night was no exception. Kyle split his time between hanging out with his friends and chatting with a girl he met at the bar. Because it was a work night, most of the group left around midnight. Dan closed out his tab at 1 a.m., but Kyle was still chatting up some ladies and decided he would stay a little longer. He told Dan he would take a cab to Dan's home to retrieve his car in a couple hours, and the two friends parted ways. When Dan woke up early Friday morning to start getting ready for work, he checked his cell phone and noticed a missed call from Kyle. He assumed it hadn't been anything important, since Kyle hadn't bothered to leave a voicemail message. It wasn't until a little later, when Dan saw that Kyle's car was still parked in his driveway, that he realized something was wrong. He tried to get a hold of Kyle on his cell phone, but it went straight to voicemail. He then called Kyle's roommates, who confirmed that Kyle hadn't come home the night before. Dan was hesitant to call Kyle's parents. It was still possible there was a reasonable explanation for Kyle's apparent absence, and he didn't want to worry them needlessly. There was always a chance Kyle had ended up going to his parents' house, though, so Dan made the decision to call them. Although his sister also had a missed call from Kyle, no one in the family had spoken to him since the night before, and no one had been able to reach him that morning. Still, no one wanted to panic yet. Perhaps Kyle had a little too much to drink and stayed on someone's couch for the night. Hoping this was what happened, they waited anxiously to see if Kyle would show up to work on time. By mid-morning, with no sign of Kyle anywhere, his friends and family knew something was dreadfully wrong. Repeated calls to his cell phone were just going straight to voicemail. His roommates hadn't seen him, and his car was still sitting at Dan's house. Panicked, Kyle's parents called the police, and they launched a search for Kyle. Afraid the case wouldn't receive adequate police attention, because Kyle was an adult, his family also hired a private investigator to chase down leads. In addition, Dan created a missing person page for Kyle on Facebook, and urged each of his 400 Facebook friends to share it. Within 2 weeks, there were 60,000 people following the case on Facebook. Using surveillance footage and witness interviews, investigators worked on piecing together the hours before Kyle disappeared. After Dan left the bar, Kyle continued to talk with one of the girls he met, and they shared a dance as well. This woman was at the bar with her boyfriend, however, and he didn't appear pleased to see Kyle dancing with her. Video from inside the bar shows that this man, along with two of his friends, approached Kyle and words were exchanged. It didn't appear that any kind of physical altercation took place, certainly not anything that caught the attention of any of the club's bouncers, and the man and his girlfriend left the bar together at this point. Kyle left the bar shortly after this. He can be seen on a surveillance video leaving the bar at 2:20 a.m., and he appears to be alone at the time. At 2:19 a.m., just seconds before he left the Buckhead Saloon, Kyle used his cell phone to call his sister, but she didn't answer. He didn't leave a voicemail, so the reason for the call is unknown, but he may have been trying to get a ride home. When Kyle left the bar, he left his coat behind. It was only 30 degrees out, but he was more than likely somewhat intoxicated at this point, and might not have noticed the cold. Like many other customers, Kyle had given his debit card to the bartender when he first arrived at the bar. His drinks were added to his tab throughout the night. According to the bartender, it was actually quite common for people to forget to retrieve their card at the end of the night, and it's possible Kyle truly forgot about the open tab. Some speculate that he was extremely intoxicated and didn't have any idea that he was walking around with no coat and no debit card. Others think he was in a hurry to leave the bar, possibly because he was trying to catch up with the young lady he had been dancing with. It's also possible Kyle may have thought he was only going to be outside for a few seconds, and planned to grab his coat and settle his tab when he went back inside. There is simply no way to know for sure. Whatever his intentions were when he walked out of the bar, the next confirmed sighting of him was at 2:30 a.m. He can be seen on surveillance footage walking alone down College Avenue towards Fuel Pizza, right down the street from the Buckhead Saloon. It's hard to tell from the few seconds of grainy video if Kyle was drunk at the time or not, but he appears to be walking with a normal gait, not stumbling around. An employee of Fuel Pizza told police Kyle had come into the restaurant and ordered 2 slices of pizza. He didn't notice if Kyle left alone or with someone. At 2:42 a.m. Kyle used his cell phone to call the Buckhead Saloon, perhaps looking to get his code and debit card back. It doesn't appear anyone answered the phone when he called. Then, in the 15-minute time period between 2:42 a.m. and 2:57 a.m. Kyle called his father's office number 4 times. This is puzzling, as Kyle should have known that there was no way his father would be at his office in the middle of the night. Again, he left no voicemails, so his reason for calling remains a mystery. According to police, Kyle's cell phone records show that he was still in the Uptown area at the time he was making all of these phone calls. He does not, however, appear on any additional surveillance videos. The cab driver believed he saw Kyle walking on North Davidson Street around 3:25 a.m. The driver noted he had no coat on and appeared to be intoxicated. If this was indeed Kyle, he had made his way to the part of Charlotte known as Noda to locals. Kyle was not a newcomer to Charlotte, and he would have been well aware that the Noda area, which was in the opposite direction from his condo, was not a part of the city that he wanted to be in. It was an area of the city known for being violent and dangerous, frequented by drug dealers and gang members. Kyle tried to call Dan for the last time at 3:28 a.m., but the call duration was only 4 seconds. At 3:29 a.m. he tried to call his roommate, and this call lasted for only 6 seconds. He didn't leave a voicemail message either time, and it's possible the battery on his phone was almost dead at this point. By 4 a.m. his phone was silent. Kyle had made a total of 8 calls after leaving the Buckhead Saloon, and almost all of them were made from the Uptown area near the bar. The final call, however, was made near the small wooden pedestrian bridge that headed into one of the worst sections of the city, Cordelia Park, a known hangout for drug dealers and gang members. Police searched this area extensively, but found nothing to indicate what happened to Kyle. As days went by with no sign of Kyle, and no information on what could have happened to him, his parents hired Public Safety Dogs Incorporated to see if they could come up with any clues. Based in North Carolina, the nonprofit organization used a variety of dogs trained to search for various scents. Mike Craig, the president of the group, and dog handler Linda Dunn agreed to take on the case. After getting Kyle's scent from the code he had forgotten at the bar, Linda had her bloodhound, AAA, attempt to track Kyle. Starting from his last known whereabouts, Fuel Pizza, AAA quickly picked up a scent trail and headed towards some railroad tracks nearby. The dog continued tracking Kyle's scent in a wide loop, indicating that Kyle had walked around in a large circle. Linda believed this could have been because he believed someone was following him, and he was trying to throw them off, but there is no way of knowing what was actually going through his mind at the time. Next, Linda had her German Shepherd, Callie, attempt to track Kyle as well. The path Callie took was almost identical to that of AAA. The following evening, Mike and Linda took the dogs back out, this time starting in Cordelia Park. The dogs immediately hit on Kyle's scent, indicating that he had been in the park at one point. They didn't remain in the park very long, though, as Mike believed it was too dangerous for them to be there. Their search had attracted some unwelcome attention from some of the people who frequented the park, and Mike believed their safety was at risk. They returned to the park the following morning, and Linda said the dogs tracked Kyle's scent to a nearby construction site. They meticulously searched the entire site over the next several days, but found nothing related to Kyle. The construction site was located about 200 yards from Cordelia Park, and it was filled with large mounds of fresh dirt. While it's possible that someone had decided it was the perfect place to hide a body, it's also very possible that the smell came from a decaying animal, not necessarily a human being. Police later brought in their own cadaver dogs, specially trained to seek out the smell of human remains, and went over the entire construction site again. In addition to the dogs, they used ground-penetrating radar and poked around in each of the mounds of dirt, but located absolutely nothing. Eventually, construction resumed at the site, and there is an apartment complex located there now. Despite an exhaustive search, no trace of Kyle has ever been found. There are many theories about what might have happened to Kyle, but precious little evidence to support any of them. His parents fully believe that he was killed that night, perhaps in a robbery gone wrong. They are convinced that his body was dumped at the construction site and most likely remains there, hidden under the massive apartment building. It's possible they're right, but the site was thoroughly searched by both humans and dogs, and none came back with any conclusive evidence to say he was there. Kyle's family left Charlotte about 3 years after he went missing, moving first to Hilton Head, South Carolina, and then to Florida, where they reside today. They believe Kyle is dead, and his body will never be found, though the case is still considered an open investigation. Police believe someone out there has the information needed to solve this case, and bring some measure of closure to the Fleischmann family. Kyle Fleischmann was 24 at the time of his disappearance, with brown hair and green eyes. He has porcelain veneers on his upper front teeth. He is 6 feet tall, and weighed around 180 pounds when he went missing. When he was last seen, he was wearing jeans, a dark-colored shirt, and black dress shoes. He was carrying a cell phone, his wallet, and a set of keys. If you have any information about Kyle, please call the Charlotte-Mecklenburg Police Department. There is a reward being offered for information leading to Kyle, or the persons responsible for his death.